Well, Babacus, if you want, we could make another character for you who is a prophet. I think we're gonna. The idea is to kind of have each person cast as that character. So Nayar is going to be Kalar 7, or Kalar 7 is going to be Nayar. So Babacus, did you want to also create a character? Because we can do that too, and maybe these two characters will interact in some way. We'll see what happens. So your character could be a prophet if you wanted. Sweet. All right. Do you want to choose a name from this list here, or do you want to just come up with your own name? It's up to you. Cool. Kalar 7, we'll just circle back to that once we get Babacus a name here. Or actually, I'll leave this up, and Babacus can let me know if he wants one of those names or a different one. All right. Nayar rose to the political class after starting out. Give him a Slither name. I see. Is this a Slither prophet, Babacus? Nayar rose to the political class after starting out as an important son of a high rank noble. Through a series of misfortune, all of his eligible siblings died off, and within 30 years of age, totally unprepared, he had to adjust. I see. Yeah. So he's kind of inherited a whole bunch of power all of a sudden. I like that. So let's. Great. Okay. So here's the thing with Slithers, of course, they don't have voice boxes, so I can't, whatever name the other Slithers would call you, Babacus, I wouldn't be able to say that. I wouldn't be able to pronounce that because I can't speak the way that a snake would, right? So we will have to come up with perhaps a name that humans have called you by. Um, let's see. Why don't we circle back to that, Babacus? We'll fill in some of this information on Nayar, and then we'll see how we're going to handle that sort of thing. So let's find out. I often use random.org to generate my random numbers. It's not quite as exciting as dice, but also most online number generators use an algorithm, which is by definition not quite as random. Random.org uses random atmospheric noise generation, so it's actually more random than rolling physical dice in real life. So we're going to use this, and we're going to find out when during the 700 to 800 year period, yeah. Actually, let's make it a little earlier, because we said he is around 30 years of age before he comes into his power. So when during this period was Nayar born? 772. So now we can go right on here. We're going to add in an event. This is Nayar. We'll call him Lord Nayar for now, until we learn where he is a ruler or a lord. I'm going to change all these. It's not going to read minor character forever. I'm going to change these into, because this is coming back from my Lives of Gethra writing days, but I'm going to move this over to this. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, the way that we could have his name be described as something that the Slithers would kind of mean when they say it, however it actually sounds. All right, so we came up with what year again? 772. Kalar 7, if you'd like, you could choose the month and day. It's very synonymous to our calendar. So there's 12 months in the year, and there is 30 days in each month. So if you'd like, you could put in your own birthday, a different number or birthday that is meaningful to you, or we can just leave it as just the year for now, or we can randomize that. So nice. So let's do this will be the, month, day. So this is going to be the 15th of the third moon, 772. He who basks in radiance. That's great. That's a great name for a prophet. Babacus. Awesome. All right. So 15th of the third moon, 772. So he's already partway through that year period, and he would be only coming into power in the 800 period. So let's actually, maybe I should have thought of that more when I rolled the dice. So let's move that a little earlier, because we want to keep you in this time block, so that next time that I'll put on my schedule for you guys. Nice, yeah. I'll put on my time block for you guys when I'm doing the 700 to 800 year period, and then you can, so that you won't be, if you do want to reprise the role, it's up to you. But if you come back and you want to continue making, feedback for Nayar, then you can, or for He Who Basks in Radiance, you can check that out, next time when I schedule in that block. Or you can create a new character at a different time. Totally up to you guys. So 665, that's a bit better because that'll mean he will be quite relevant during the time period we're working with here. So that was 665. All right, and then we're going to add a new event 30 years later, which is Nayar comes of age. Or no, not comes of age, but inherits his family's power. He Who Basks in Radiance, for short. Hibwer. Family's power. And this is a minor character, and we're going to nest that in with Nayar. Awesome, there we go. So now we can expand that. We can see that he is born here. All the way over here, he comes into power. But that is the wrong date, so we're going to fill that in as what would be he was born in 665, so 30 years later. Well, let's see if it's exactly 30 or not. So we'll just do, let's see, 28, 32, 29 years later. So that would be 80. That's late here. Give me a second, guys. 65 plus 29. So in 694, he has inherited his family's power. All right. What kind of disaster or whatever happened to Lord Nayar that led to his family's sudden demise, leaving him with this power? Was there a shipwreck? Was there a vague and unknown crime, or something else? We're also going to add in here, let's figure out when vague and unknown for the siblings. Sounds good. We'll say that that happened around the same time then, so. Cool, yeah, no worries. Nayar's siblings pass away in vague circumstances. So maybe he wasn't around his home or wherever they were, and then learned about this, like they're gone as well. He learned his father had just passed of an illness, and his siblings weren't around either, and he's like, wait, what? And this would be around the same time, so 694. Actually, we'll put this in at 693, a little bit before that, and then his father passes of an illness. Sure. Sounds good, Babacus. Keep in mind that I will have to try to fit it in with the kind of existing Gethra lore, however I can. We just can't have things like totally contradicting itself. That's part of my role as the storyteller, to make sure everything's organized. But of course, if I can make it work, I certainly will, and we'll have part of working to our favor is that a lot of the things I've figured out for Gethra are like 700 or 600 years after these events. So it could be that they that he founded a religion, but that it died out or faded away. So we can always find that out later. All right, there. I think next time maybe I'll just do this part of the process right on World Anvil. It might be faster to just type stuff out as we kind of ad-lib it, and then I can build my timeline after the fact for my own organization. I think this is a nice visual tool to have as well, but it might be a little too time consuming now that we're getting some actual player interaction going here. So this would have been in 694. right at after he inherits. That's the cause of him inheriting his family's power. So let's move over. Let's move some of this over to the world anvil. That way, you guys can see this. Once I'm done, it's quite late here. So once I log out, you guys can still see this this content we've come up with, and I can always populate my timeline later. So we're gonna make a new character. This is Nayar. So let me just grab some of the template. That was the 15th of the 3rd moon, 665. And then we'll just add in what we've come up with so far. And then that way you'll have that handy access. So this will be history of Nayar. Though originally a lower ranking member of his family's power structure, the unclear loss of his siblings and his father's death by illness left Nayar suddenly in control of his family's estate and power by, what year did we say? 694. Whenever I put in the abbreviation, guys, it's years since Orish. That's the big meteor event that we were starting with. All right, there. And then we'll add out-of-world details. Okay, so for the out-of-world details, Cal, you're okay with your name being on there as well? Played by? Let me know and I can fill that in. Sweet. Cool. So if you head over to the wiki, again, the link's down in the panel if you guys would like, or I can always just paste it again in the chat. Boop, and there you guys have. Well, I guess right now that'll only be searchable. Let me hook that up to that'll be in the world characters category for now. At some point, actually, you know what I should do in the world characters category? I should add some subcategories. So we'll add in this historical period. Oh, oops, I wanted that to be in there. And then we can move to the world characters here and drop them into that. So Nayar is part of that time period, and Asharo is part of that time period. And these other ones are part of the modern time period. So let's say YSO 1400 to 1480. No, wait. 1500. All right, awesome. So now let's make our Slither prophet, he who basks, for short. And we can fill in some details there, and then we'll circle back to Nayar in a little bit here. So he who basks in radiance. I think we'll add in some hyphens like Kalar had earlier. I think it's a good way to kind of, emphasize that this is a name, and for the Slithers it would be said, probably in tone differently, like a name. Yeah, for sure. So, oh, cool. Okay, we'll fill in that religion in a second here, Babacus. Just to answer Kalar 7. Yeah, so I have a few different projects that I've worked on myself. So I have the Shadowglyph series. You can check those out. So if you look down below, I have a little bookstore tab and I'll link you to Amazon. So I have the Shadowglyph series, which is an unrelated mythos and is not interactive. That's just a story series that I wrote. It's 5 books. It's self-contained once you read all 5, and it's that one's definitely higher fantasy than Gethra. So for that series, each book actually goes earlier in time. So you start with the present and you delve each book earlier in time. You can see I have a thing for historical kind of stories. And as you delve further back through this fantasy kingdom's history, you discover all these secrets and stuff. And by the 5th book, you resolve the cliffhanger in the first one because it's got this big thing. Yeah, sweet. So that's the Shadowglyph series, and it's kind of unrelated to this one. Then I've got the Gethra series, and for the Lives of Gethra series, it was originally just based on my website, livesofgethra.com. Again, link down below. And the lives, and so it's public there, it's free there. You guys could just read it on the website if you want. But if you want to support me, or if you love the character art, etc., I print off what I write there each year as a physical book, also on Amazon. But yeah, it's not really required. It's just kind of, some people would prefer to have a physical copy in front of them. Some people like reading on a screen. So totally up to you guys, your approach to that. So we have character art for some of the characters on it. So, like there's several characters in this book, but we have Dago on the cover. And for this one, we've got Vaynuth on the cover. You guys tune in tomorrow on my podcast. I'll be reading some of these stories live, and we upload them on they're on Spotify as a podcast and everything as well. That's something new we're starting. But the entire, they're fairly thick. The entire story so far is on the Lives of Gethra website. So this is the 3rd one, and this is the character Arn, who's from those stories as well. And then now I'm moving into developing the backstory and the world a whole lot more. And hopefully, I've kind of had the live series on hold for a little bit of a hiatus. I actually was working on another book, which I'm pitching to some bigger publishers soon. So I'm excited about that. That'll be pretty cool to see if that goes anywhere. And it's an unrelated project too. But yeah, the Lives of Gethra series is kind of this interactive one for my website, and you get the books if you'd like them, and you have all this lore here to delve into. And it's totally fine if you guys want to use this as a setting for your own games. All that stuff is here with public access. So whatever you guys like to do. And yeah, my hope is that as I continue to get back into working on Gethra, I will at some point probably continue writing the stories over on Lives of Gethra, the website. So, all right, coming back to He Who Basks in Radiance. So let me find another placeholder text that I can copy. All right, I think I imagine Babacus. I think I imagine He Who Basks in Radiance being a little older, just because it would have taken more time for him to build a whole religion, I think, and kind of start this. Does that sound good to you? Sweet. Okay, so let's then set his parameter of years up to being born within. Well, actually, we don't know. I haven't actually. With Lives of Gethra, the characters don't interact with Slithers extensively. Vaynuth is a trader who does go and trade with them sometimes, but because of that language barrier, she's not able to learn that much about them because they communicate through like cue cards basically. So we haven't actually figured out. There's it hasn't come up on the randomizers some of the information about Slithers. So before we answer when was he born, why don't we look into well, there's all of our Slither information. Don't have voice boxes in my own notes. But let's put on here, we'll make a new randomizer, and we'll say, how long do Slithers traditionally live? Shorter than humans? Longer than humans? Or similar to humans? I think it would be strange if they were similar to humans, just because they're an entirely different species. So we're going to make it more probable that it's one of these first two options. And then we'll do the randomizer. If my stream does well, I would like to get a website going where these randomizers, which are kind of a bit of the game mechanics side of Gethra, it's playing with probabilities based on my understanding of the world and all of that. I'd like to get that public as well at some point, and maybe even have a way that users could do something similar on that website. But that's a bigger project. I'm going to have to work with a web developer or something on that. I'm fairly skilled at a lot of these different tech things, but not quite at the point that I can make a site like that myself. So, all right. So I actually rolled the unlikely option, 3, which means that they are similar to humans. So we can work with what we know somewhat. So we'll go back to that. We'll do 650 to 700, or actually, no, we'll say if we want him to be a little older, 625 to 675. So this will be when he was born. Yeah, yeah, it's great. I would also really like to have some way. Of course, not all randomizers. I mean, this one I put 5 options, so I couldn't possibly roll a dice. There's no 5-sided dice that I know of, or it would be quite unusual to have. I don't know how that would even work, mathematically. But it would be nice on said website, if I make that kind of public roll table system, which would be great. It would be nice to have, the possibility or some sort of animation when I click the roll button, just to make that a little bit more exciting for everyone. What's the result going to be? Especially if someone's, if the future of someone's storyline is going to be determined by that. It's fun to have a bit more suspense there, I think. So, all right. He who basks in radiance was born in 634. Born in 634. So, Babacus, did you want to choose the numbers for his? Nice, yeah, no worries. Babacus, did you want to choose the numbers for he who basks birth date? It would be again 1 month out of 12. Just whichever month it would be, and then also the a day between 1 and 30. So I can also just randomize that if you'd like, or we can just leave it as a year and come back to it later. June 15th, awesome. So that is the 6th month. So and the 15th of the 6th month. Awesome. Actually, I thought it was interesting, Caller 7, when you said it was the 15th of the third moon, or March, March 15. My own birthday is actually just on March 12, so it's I thought that was funny. Close date. I'm almost the same day as Lord Nayar. All right, so history for him. Let's fill in. So he who basks. Actually, we should also add in here, just because this isn't always a given, species slither. He who basks in radiance. I'm going to copy that because it is going to take longer to type that out each time. He who basks in radiance is founded a let's see here. Animist Shaman religion. Sweet. Across many years of his life. I imagine that these slithers would have their own religions already, so I think that this might be kind of like a branch of that religion. Unless you think he kind of has come up with something totally new and is at odds with their religion. So let me know if you have a strong feeling one way or another there. We should also add in, I think we'll probably make his religion on a separate page and link to it. Maybe it'll just be part of the page on Slither religion. So let's save that. We'll make that public as well, even though it's still a work in progress. Can I go do this in a new page? Okay, cool, yeah. So his kind of contributions to it um, is kind of to begin almost more spreading the religion as opposed to it just being something that's been tradition for them so far. Um, while the Slithers followed similar beliefs for centuries, he who basks in radiance began the first organized temples and training infrastructure for the religion. Cool. Yeah, I like that idea. There's a couple religions in Gethra already. One of them is a little bit more of a traditional, almost monotheistic religion. That's the Atmosepti, who believe that the sky god is the most powerful god and all of that. And so so there's that religion. Then there's also the Path, which has almost no actual like tenets of belief. They're kind of just a seek enlightenment, and however you find it, that's how it works for you. So it's almost similar to that, but those are very geographically they're very far away from each other. Those two religions, so they just kind of came up with similar ideas somewhat. So we'll save that. We're gonna make a page for Slither religion. And this will get a lot. I've seen you put in a lot of information, Babacus, on the religion, so we'll try to get some of that in here as well. So this is a religion. Oops. Let's see here. Not a secret. I mean, it has temples now, like you noted, but is there something else? We might just want to make it a organized religion. Yeah. Let me know if you want me to put it in as a different one here. I'll put it as a organized religion for now, but there's also like it could be a cult. We could say it is a sect, or just other. But for now, I'll put it in there unless you have a preference, Babacus. It's sure we'll say that humans refer to it, the Slither religion, as Slitherism. We'll say sometimes. I think that's more of might be something. Of course, for the humans, they don't know a lot about the Slithers culture at all, so they're just kind of like they're like, oh yeah, Slithers, they must believe in Slitherism, So I think that's there, and then we'll have some more of these details. Yeah, sweet. So that's a good point, Kyler7. The magic system is not. I haven't made any articles for it on the wiki yet. Part of that's because with Lives of Gethra on the podcast, which I've been doing each day this week, we're very soon going to get to some magic stuff happening. So I thought it might be fun to kind of leave that unspoiled for anyone who's following along until we get there. But I might as well just answer that on stream while we're here though, because it's going to be public at some point, and at some point it'll be spoilers for people anyway. So I'll circle back to that once we have a chance here. I think the magic system in Gethra is very interesting, so we'll definitely get back to that in a minute. All right. So he who basks in radiance created an animistic shaman religion. The religion believes that each location in the land is inhabited by its own unique spirits who can be communicated with and understood only by those who have access to the Sidnoch flower. Ah, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll say that'll have to be the human name of this flower that human scholars who have gone into the desert have discovered. So